Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. Thank you, first of all, for being here. Thank you to my new subscribers and, of course, to my established ones. A special thank you to, those who share and think, oh, you know what, I know somebody who might enjoy this. So I really thank you for that. And, of course, the thumbs up and the comments are fabulous. And I also want to thank people for their donations. It's very, very, very generous. Always it just always humbles me. And so I thank you very, very much for that. So today is the autumn equinox. I guess unless you're in the southern hemisphere, because then it would be the spring equinox. But what makes this time special is that you've got the light and the dark in sort of like perfect balance, right? They're equal. And that got me to thinking. I had been asked a little while ago about taking a look at sort of our shadow selves and how we, understand them and work with it. And I thought that was a really interesting thing to do a reading on. But given the sort of day that I'm recording this, I want to actually look at. I'm going to do a channeled message from Spirit, probably Masudius. And I just want to gain some information on the wisdom to be learned from that perfect balance and, what we are striving to achieve. Because I think sometimes we get caught up in thinking that we have to be all, good. If we're in the light and of the light, then we need to just radiate light 24/7. That's not actually going to work so well for us, because we are in a human condition and we're here because we want to experience what we experience here on earth in physical form. So that's enough of that rambling. So I am going to ask the question of Masudius of Spirit, is what is the wisdom and guidance that we can be given at this time as we are celebrating an equinox where, light and dark are in balance. As usual, the channeled information is copyrighted under my personal name. All right, so here we go. Thank you. It's always appreciated, and we are always grateful for the opportunity to take this time to again share with you the insights that, as Masudius Group has watched over the planet for a very long time, we have gathered. So, in physical form, it often seems, when you are in your here and now, that there is a perpetual search for more. There is a perpetual search for finding a way to maintain a balance. Sometimes, and you can see this all throughout each of your lives. There is, the work-home balance. There is the, children-spouse balance. There is the personal and public balance. So it's really all about, there's just a lot about maintaining that balance and trying to figure out how to make that work. So first thing we want you to understand is that it is the balance that you are wanting to achieve. It is holding the light and the dark energy in balance. But balance is not a stagnant force. So sometimes imbalance means that you are using 80% of an aspect of yourself, recognizing that when that challenge is met, you are going to be able to pull yourself back and again rebalance yourself. So it's not about being in a stagnant state. You're going to have times where you are light filled and happy and everything is just really, great, and other times when unfortunately there are going to be lessons learned through difficulties, right, through challenges. So it's not about trying to maintain a perfect sort of Zen state. This is not, yin yang held in perfect balance. This is about recognizing that there are two aspects to the physical human experience. And one aspect is about the experience, having the actual experience. The other aspect is understanding how that creates growth for the soul experience. And it is from that, between the two, that you are perpetually finding a balance. But we really want you to want to stress this. Maybe this is a good analogy or a good picture to use. So picture a teeter-totter, okay? And so that teeter-totter can sit, if you have, two people kind of equal weight sitting on either end, you can hold the teeter-totter perfectly balanced. However, even though that is one state or one position the teeter-totter could be in, it also goes up and down. So that sometimes there's a great deal of one thing and very little of the other, and that's constantly in flux and constantly sort of moving. So understand yourself is the teeter-totter. The life experiences that you have and the wisdom you gain from it and the way you process it, that is the teeter-totter aspect. It is a fascinating dynamic that in physical form, spirit loses, you know, a lot of its knowledge. It doesn't remember what it already knows. It doesn't remember to remember. And so when you are in physical form, there is this sort of state of you're wanting to like hit a certain level and maintain. And real life in the real world with real energy does not support that. It supports the continual flux. And it's interesting. I was just, you know, this is I don't very often use my beautiful white dragon wand, or certainly not, usually on camera. But as I was just saying that, I realized that this really is the perfect example of finding that balance, right? I mean, you have this is the teeter-totter, this is the center, and you are always trying to find that perfect balance between the two. But in fact, what we are saying is the perfect balance is more like this. It gently, and there are times absolutely where it hits center and where it hits balance, and then it teeters and totters one way or the other. That really is a good visual of what we're trying to tell you. The balance, that state of sort of just everything feeling like it is centered, like there is a state of centered, a state of, just being in a place where things are kind of equal. And again, that's that is the state that you try to achieve, but you're not understanding the teeter and totter effect of life. Part of the reason that in human form there is such a drive or a desire, excuse me, a drive or a desire to increase the light and increase the light and increase the light. It's because as light beings, as energy beings, when you release that soul from physical form, they really do end up achieving or being in their real state of spirit, is to be very, very light filled. It is not to ignore or disregard that which is of a lower vibration. The work is to always be trying to lift the vibration, but to do it wisely, you must really understand that it is perpetually in flux. And that's okay. And that's as it should be. Part of the reason you are encouraged to do meditations, whether they are still meditations or active meditations, because that is part of how you find that balance. And this is part of the eternal quest of being in human form, striving for the perpetual light-filled experience, but understanding that it's like rolling on sort of on the ocean, right? The energy is always moving a little bit. And the thing to remember is that when you spend your time and your energy sort of in perpetual search for that which is yin yang, for that which is that perfect balance, you really are denying yourself the moment where you accept that the ups and downs, the frailties and the strengths come together in one tapestry. They come together in one experience. And there is so much to be gained from being in a place, in a state where acceptance and, in fact, embracing the continual flux is really the state that you want to achieve. It's understanding that the flux is all part of it. For as long as there has been an understanding of the human mind and human spirit, there is this perpetual drive for balance. But balance cannot be stagnant, and that is why things are always sort of in motion. That is part of the reason that we encourage, and you are encouraged, to do those activities on a day-by-day or week-by-week basis that puts you back into that state of balance. But understand, it is sort of like suspended animation. It is incredibly helpful. It's very vital. It lifts away some of the heavier or darker energy, but ultimately you can't stay in a permanent state of balance because you're forever receiving, accepting, rejecting, processing, and creating new energy, literally moment by moment. So what one learns from balance is that even on the equinox, even for that moment in time where there is balance, the universe continues, right? That road where the teeter-totter is going up and down, right? And then it comes back 6 months later and there's that other state of balance for the, opposite equinox to whatever you are celebrating today. So it cannot be stagnant. You didn't come to the earth. You didn't assume physical form. You didn't accept, with not only grace and gratitude, but with great excitement, the limitations of being in physical form on this particular planet. It was all part of the experience that you wanted to achieve. And part of that process is simply understanding the flexibility, the continual movement of that balance. It's a momentary thing, it is fleeting, but it is fundamental. It is vital. It is part of what sustains literally the physical and the soul. But they're moments. And then continued growth continues. We have often stated in the Masudius information that it is reaching the plateau that is the journey. Once you achieve a certain plateau or a certain goal, well, the next one offers itself. The next level unfolds, whatever that looks like. And so the experience of physicality is going from, having a goal, achieving that goal at a plateau, getting to the plateau and realize there's a new plateau opening up, and again, and again, and again. And you can boil that down to one physical lifetime and the process that happens with that, or understand that on a grander scale, that really is the evolution that the soul goes through on a perpetual and ongoing basis. So I guess we could say that when it comes to balance, part of the quest is to understand the importance of achieving it and understanding how vital it is that those little moments of perfect balance are going to start fluxing. It's just the way it is. Now, we're not discounting some amazing masters that have walked the earth and have bestowed lessons. And we are not discounting those people who strive to stay in a almost perpetual spiritual place. But the reality is that by and large, for most of you, your discoveries, your journey is in that balance, in finding and searching for the balance. Whether, again, it is a balance between work and home, whether it is a balance between public and private, whether it is a balance between husband and wife, children and their parents, there is that ever fluctuating energy. That is what we hope you will gain the wisdom of from the equinox. It is a moment of perfect balance. And then, because it is energy, it must continue that fluctuation. We hope you have found this interesting. It is always, always our pleasure to be able to share our insights and our wisdom with you. And on behalf of the Masudius group, we also would like to take an opportunity to thank those of you who are part of the Soulprint community, who seek the same questions and who seek the answers. Okay. So thank you very, very much again for the opportunity. We are at this time, Masudius. Well, all right then. Okay, so that's a lot of very, very interesting food for thought. It almost feels like it sort of goes against conventional wisdom a little bit. So that was fascinating. Now, in celebration, I guess, of the equinox, the um, next video that I put out, the one that comes out on Thursday, is going to be a guided meditation into that sort of balance, understanding it, and recognizing that it is fluid. So that's going to be a really interesting meditation. I don't know what that's going to look like. I suspect that Masudius, for the most part, is just going to guide us right through that meditation and give us the information or the visuals, whatever it is that we need collectively. So once again, thank you ever so much for being here, for being part of this community, and all of the support you give to Soulprint. It is so very, very much appreciated. Until next time, stand in your power and stand in your light. Bye-bye.